Hey techies, welcome back to another video. And this video we are going to see about the nested for loops. Okay, before that, first let's see. Look at this pattern on the screen. It is a perfect pyramids of star. Okay, and it is symmetrical, and it will look so complex to print, right? Okay, see here it is symmetric because if I split it here, then still I have this part and this part, both are same. So we will be going to see how to print uh, how to print super patterns without having any troubles, and master how to print the and mastering the patterns. Okay, and this pattern is just need to print using just two loops, one loop inside the another loop. Okay, that's it. There is no need for the advanced math or something. So today we are going to deep on these nested loops. So it is not just it is it is not just the surface level. We will be going in depth of how it's working internally. See here in this pattern, what we are going to do is we are going to print using two loops. So before that we will see the basic fundamentals of the nested loop. Okay, now we will be going on to the Visual Studio Code. So here I will create a new file. Nested.java. After that the class is created. So public static void main. The main method is created. So before that I'll import the util package. So now I'll create scanner class object. Within that we have to give system.in. Now we have created the scanner class object. So watch closely. The normal for loop is for and initialization I equals 0 and I less than n. After that I plus plus. So before that I'll get input as n. So s1.nextInt. Now I have created the for loop. This is the basic syntax for the for loop. So now we are going to create another for loop inside this. So this is the nested for loop, that is for int. Within the same for loop we can't give the same name. For example, if I try to give another I and I less than n and I plus plus, it will throw error. Okay, this variable is already defined in this method, so we can change this to j. Okay, now if you want to initialize another variable I, we can simply do it outside of the loop. For example, here I am doing it I less than n I plus plus. See, I don't get any errors because this is called scope. This is a local scope. That means this variable, any variable I am declaring inside it will not take or affect the another variable. For example, if I give another n, for example, next, I'm giving next equals 12. Okay, this is a variable. Now if I declare that in the global variables, next equals 13. So see here, I am not getting any errors. The value of the local variable next is not used. So see here, this is local variable and this is also local variable. This local variable is only accessible inside this for loop. Okay, and this next variable is only accessible inside this main method. So this is local, and if you want to declare it in global, you can simply. So now we will see about the nested for loops. So I'll remove this. Then I also remove this. This is the basic syntax of the nested for loop. A for loop inside another for loop. Okay, and we are going to print the patterns. So in this outer for loop is going to be used for printing the rows, and the inner for loop is going to be used for printing the columns. Okay, so this is the basic thing. So if I want to basically print a grid, that means a grid is nothing but a square shape that if you give the value, it will have the same number of rows and the same number of columns. So for example, I'll simply name it to row because that will give some purpose for that variable name. So this is row and this is column. And column plus plus. So this is the basic syntax. Within that, I want to print, for example, I want to print star here. After that I give some space. So next let us try to run it. Before that I'll remove this next line here. So we will get the input in the same line. So we have to give input. I'm giving 5. We got every line in a single, every pattern in a single line. So for that, for the every row after printing, we have to give the next, it have to go to the next line to print the pattern. So for that I'm giving a next line here. So it will simply move on to the next line. So let us try to run and give a 5. See here, we got 5 rows and 5 columns of star. So let us see how it's working in the board. So after that we will see how it's internally working along every iteration. So if I remove the space, I'll get the correct square shape here. See here, it won't look square because there is no space in between them. If you give space, so it will look like a square structure. So that's why I have given space before that. So now we will see how it's working. Okay, after that we will see how it's working for this problem. So before that we will first see the grid. For that, first we have to understand the grid. So I'll take 4 rows and 4 columns. This is the first row. Second row and third row. Finally the fourth row. So look at here. So there are 4 rows and 4 columns. So we have to see the basic structure. After that we can code it here. So for that, in the first for loop, I equals, I'll start from 0 here, 0 1 2 3, okay, and I less than 4, because there are 4 rows here, so this is used for number of rows. After that, I plus plus. So now there are 4 columns here. So for that, for int j equals, it have every row have 4 columns, so we just need j less than 4, j plus plus. So after that, I'll be printing the star. After printing the star, I'll just use next line. Okay, see here. So now this next line is used to print. When this first row is print, after that it have to go to the next line. So that means this one row is printed. After that it will go to the next line. After that it will become 1 and 1 less than 4. After that the second row will be printed, and third row, after that fourth row will be printed. So now let us see how it's working. So first, let me change this. So here, first I'll erase this pattern. So we will be iterating through the every iterations. So we will see how it's working. Okay, now first the current I value is 0, so 0 less than 4. Okay, it is true. Then the first loop will be entered and this code have to be executed. So now what will happen? J will become 0, 0 less than 4, true. Then 1 star will be printed, J value will become 1. So 1 less than 4, again 1 star will be printed. So now 1 will become 2. So again 1 star will be printed because 2 less than 4 is true. Again 2 will be changed to 3. 3 less than 4 is true. 1 star is printed. After that 4 less than 4 is false. Okay. So now what is happening? It will become false. It will get out of only this loop. That means only this inner for loop. So after that it will print next line. That means it will go to the next line. After going to the next line, one loop of this outer for loop is executed. So now the current value of I will become 1. So 1 less than 4. So again the j value will become 0. So 0 less than 4, star will be printed. 1 less than 4, star will be printed. 2 less than 4, another 1 star is printed. 3 less than 4, another 1 star is printed. Then when it becomes 4 less than 4, it will return false. Go to next line. So now see here, this 1 will become 2. So j will become 0 again. So 0 less than 4, 1 star printed. 1 less than 4, another star printed. 2 less than 4, another star printed. After that 3 less than 4, another star printed. And 4 less than 4, it will become false. So it will get out of the loop. The next line will be printed. That means it will go to the next line. So after that 3 less than 4, the I value will become 3. When 3 less than 4 is true, then it will go to the for loop. After that, this for loop is executed again. So 0 less than 4, 1 star will be printed. 1 less than 4, another star is printed. 2 less than 4, another star is printed. Again 3 less than 4, another star is printed. Okay. This every value is checking by j, and this every row is checking by the outer loop I. Okay. This for loop is for these many count of rows. Okay. And this inner for loop is for printing these many elements within that each row. Okay. So now before that we'll see the final iteration here. So now this value will become 4. So 4 less than 4 is false. So it will be entirely get out of this outer for loop. So it will go here. That means there is no line there. So the code will be stopped there. So this grid is printed. Okay. So I'll explain once more again. This outer for loop is used for the number of rows, and this inner for loop is used for the number of columns. Okay. Now we have printed this grid. So now we'll try to print this star pattern. That means a triangular pattern. So let us see another pattern, how to print it. Before that, we'll understand the pattern first. 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. So this is the pattern. So first we have to see the symmetric. In this pattern, see here, this is the first row, 1 star. For the second row, 2 stars. Third row, 3 stars. Fourth row, 4 stars. Understood? First row, 1 star. Second row, 2 star. Third row, 3 stars. Fourth row, 4 stars. So for that, row equals, there are 4 rows. Okay. Now column will be changing. This doesn't change, but this does change, because the number of values will be changed within the column only. So for that, here we have 4 rows, and the column will be changes from 1 to 4. So I can say it that in the first iteration I got 1 row, second iteration 2 row, in the first iteration 1 star, second iteration 2 star, third iteration 3 star, fourth iteration 4 star. So that means the number of iteration is the number of stars here. Okay, the count of the iteration is the count of the stars here. So for that, I can simply say that the first we have to print the rows. I have to give for int I equals 0 to I less than or equals 4. Sorry. I equals I equals 0, I less than 4, and I plus plus. Okay, there are 4 rows. It starts from 0 and less than 4, so that means it's 4 rows. So we have printed the 4, that means we have counted the 4 rows. So here we will name this 2 rows because it will be more clear way. So for int row equals 0, row less than 4, row plus plus. Okay, so after that we have to print columns. Column equals 0. After that, column, see, let me change this row values to 1. So for that we will see y here, because I'll change this to 1 and less than or equals 4. So now I can simply change this column value also 1. So row is 1 and row less than or equals 4, because first row to fourth row. So here column first row to fourth row. So how many rows are there? There are 4. So how many columns are there? 1 to 4. So I can say the number of row is the number of column here. So for that, column less than or equals row. Okay, because first row I'll get 1, second row I'll get 2, third row I'll get 3, and fourth row I'll get 4. So for that, column less than or equals row and column plus plus. Within that we will be printing the star. After that, a new line, printing a new line. That means /n or system.out.println. Okay, so now we will try to code. So here I'll remove this int. First I'll write a for loop for the outer loop, that is the number of rows. Int row equals 1 and row less than or equals n and row plus plus. After that we have printed the number of rows. Next, the columns. So it will start from 1 and it will end at the number of rows and column plus plus. So now we will print the star and give a single space for it will look good. So after that, a new line here. And one more thing, if you use print ln in the printing of the star, then the pattern will be collapsed. So let us try to do that. So there is no need for this line. So the compiler is working here. So I am giving 5. So let us run it again. So I give input as 5. See here, it is printing, but it goes on the next lines. So for that I'll remove this next line. So if I try to run this and I'm giving 5 here, see we got 4 values because I have given 4 here instead of n. So I will give n. So now let us check here and run it again. So I'm giving 5 here. So we got the star pattern in a triangle way. It's an adjacent triangle. So we have printed for the n inputs that we have given in. Okay, this is how we will be printing this pattern here. First we have to understand the rows and the columns here. So by using that we will be able to print it. Okay, or else if I simply remove the space here, it will directly look like a triangle. So I will give the input of 6 here. See, it's working perfectly with 1 star and 2 star, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars and 6 stars. So I'll start from 1 and end it at n. So it will make some sense here. So after that we'll try to print this triangle in an upside down way. Okay, we'll see how the pattern is like this: 4 3 2 and 1. It's like this. Okay, we have to print this pattern in this way. So for that, the same, it's the same logic. Okay, first we will count the number of rows. There are 4 rows. So for int row equals 1 and row less than or equals 4 and row plus plus. Okay, this outer loop is for the number of rows. It is not changing like that, so I am simply doing that. So within this column value it is reducing. Okay, so for that it's from the maximum value 4 and 3 and 2, after that it reaches 1. So we have to find the logic of here. For this I can say this 4 is n, that means n equals 4. There are n rows and n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3. Okay, so see here that I can simply say this line as n minus 0. Okay, so basically we start slopes from 0 and we will remove this less than or equals here. So row equals 0, row less than 4 and row plus plus. That the 4 means nothing but n. So here I can say that this is n minus 0, n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3. Correct? That means I can simply say n minus row here if I start my row with 0. For that, int column equals 0 to column less than n minus row. After that, column plus plus. So if I print star again, after that I am printing the next line here. So it will go to the next line. Okay, I can say it as n, and if I starts my row 0, that means for the every after single rows a star is deducting. That means I can say first row, that means 0th row for the indexing I reduce 0. For the first row I will reducing 1, and the second row I will reducing 2, and the third row I will reducing 3. Okay, so now we will see the coding in the VS Code. So for here, first for the number of rows, row equals 0, row less than n, and row plus plus. Okay, next the column. So for the column equals 0 and column less than n minus the row. After that, column plus plus. Okay, now we will print the star here. After that, make sure this is not next line here. After that, in next line, after this for loop, after this every row is printed, we will move on to the next line. After that, the second row will be printed. So for that we are using this next line here. So let us try to run this. So now we will give 6. So we got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got the 6 rows and it is in the reverse order. So what we are doing, we are reducing the values using the number of rows with the negative. That means we are subtracting it. So this is how you will be printing in the upside down order. Okay, so first we have seen how this nested for loops is work. Every single iteration of this for loop, there will be n number of iterations inside this for loop. After completing these n operations, then it will do the second n operations. After that, this will again work n times. That's why it's the time complexity is order of n square. Okay, so we will see one more pattern here, that is like this, a triangle in this way. Okay, so see here, so what is happening here is, look at this, I can say that these are containing spaces and these are containing stars. Okay, it's in a symmetric, but this left side having space. That means there is 1, 2 and 3 spaces here, 2 spaces here, 1 space here. So see here 4, 4, 4 and 4. Okay, let us draw it here again. 4, 3, 2 and 1. So see here, there is 1 space here, 2 spaces here, 3 spaces here. Okay, that means it's an empty spaces. So I can simply say there are 3 spaces here. So for every loop in this, I can start from 1. Okay, so that 1 star for the first row, 2 star for the second row, 3 stars for the third row, 4 stars for the fourth row. So I can say row equals 1. After that, row less than n and row less than or equals n and row plus plus. Okay, I can increase the row. So in this column, before the printing of star, there are 3 spaces here. So for that spaces, I can say that look, there are 3 spaces. The number of, that means the n equals 4. That means if you want to get 3, that means 4 minus 1 will get 3. So for the first row it is 1. So if you get 2, that means the second row we got 4 minus 2, 2 spaces here, 2 spaces here. After that, for the third row, this 4 minus 3 will become 1. In that time, so what we are getting is the 3. So in the fourth row, 4 minus 4 is 0. So there are 0 spaces. After that, the 4 stars is printing. Okay, find the logic here. There are 3 spaces, 2 spaces, 1 spaces. The space is reducing and the star is increasing. So that time, if I do n minus row, then that time I can get this pattern. So let us try to run this on the Visual Studio Code here. First, for int row equals, I'll start from 1. So row less than or equals n, then row plus plus. After that, the column for int, before that columns, look at that. First we have to print the spaces. So I am simply naming it as spaces equals 0, spaces less than n minus row. So spaces plus plus. Okay, after that, so now what will happen? 0 spaces to n minus 1 spaces, n minus row spaces. So we will get some spaces. So for that, so within that printing statement, give a empty space here. So after printing spaces, we have to print star. So I am giving it as column equals 1 column less than or equals row column plus plus. So again we have to print the star. After printing spaces and stars, we have to print the next line. Okay, this for loop is for printing the spaces, and this for loop is for printing the stars, and this next line is used for printing every row. It has to move on to the next line. So now let us run it here. So I am giving the input as 2. I got 2 stars here, so let us give 5 here. See here, we got the pattern. So there are 4 spaces here and 3 spaces here and 2 spaces here and 1 space is here. There is 0 spaces in the last line. Okay, this is how you have to understand the basic logic amongst this. So now we will see how to code for the pattern that we have seen in the previous, in the first. Okay, that is this triangular star pattern. Okay, this triangular star pattern. In this triangular star pattern, if you see closer here, that is, there is 1 space here, 2 spaces here and 3 spaces here. Okay, and for the stars, 1 star is there, 3 star is there, 5 star is there and 7 star is there. So I'll start my row. There are 4 rows here. Okay, there are 4 rows here, and we have to use one for loop for printing the spaces. After that, the stars. After printing spaces, we have to print the stars. After that, the next line. Okay, so see here, if I take my row as 0, okay, after that, if I simply use this as printing the stars is, there are, if I multiply it 2 times, there are 1 star, 3 stars, 5 stars and 7 stars. So I can say that 2 times of 1 plus 1, 2 times of 2 plus 1, 2 times of 3 plus 1, 6 plus 1 7, 4 plus 1 5, 2 plus 1 is 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. After that I can say 2 star 0 will become 0 plus 1. So we found the logic, that is 2 times of 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. So 2 times of 1 is 2 plus 1 will become 3. So 2 times of 2 equals 4 plus 1 will become 5. So 2 times of 3 will become 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay, then 2 times of 4 is 8 plus 1 equals 9. So we got the count of the stars here. Okay, we have found the logic of the stars. So now we have to reduce the number of spaces according with the rows. So if it's first row, so that means if you are using 0, so we can simply use n minus row minus 1, because it starts from 0. So 1 minus 1 will become minus 1 minus 1 will become minus 2 for the second row. So we will get this number of spaces here. For the spaces we will be reducing 1 by 1, and for the stars we are increasing by 2 times plus 1. Okay, so now we will see the logic here. So now we will try to code it. So let's see what will happen. So for row equals 0, row less than or row less than n, row plus plus. So mostly means every time this won't change. This for the first for loop will not change, because the number of rows will not affect the pattern. After that there are spaces here. For int spaces equals 0, spaces less than row minus spaces less than n minus row minus 1. Okay, then spaces plus plus. So we have to print the spaces here. We have, after printing the spaces, we have to print the stars. For that, I am naming it as stars here. So it starts from 0. So stars less than 2 times of stars plus 1. Then stars plus plus. So I'll print it. We have to use print here, not println. So after the star we'll go to the next line. So there we'll be printing println. So this for loop is for printing the spaces, and this for loop is for printing the number of stars. There is 2 times of stars plus 1. So in here this is not related to the stars, because this is related to the rows, because the nth row have 0, and if it once, after that it will become 2 plus 1 3. So after that 3 plus 2 6 plus 1 7. So like that it will go. So now let us try to print 4 here. So we got the triangular pattern here. So now let us check it with 7. I got the triangular again. So if I try to give space here, so let us try once again. So 6. It will look messy here. So for that just use stars without any spaces. So again 7 here. So we got the triangular pattern. So now we will try to print one more pattern here, that is the same exact pattern but in upside down. This is the pattern that we are gonna print. In the previous time we have printed it in the upside down method, that is the normal triangle, but we have printing it in a upside down. So for that, the same logic, we are going to catch it, one space here, two space here, three space here. Okay, this diagonal is spaces. That means now the spaces are increasing and the stars are reducing. Okay, 7 stars, 5 stars, 3 star, 1 star. So let us see the logic first here. For that I can say 0 spaces for 0th row, 1 space for, that means the index value 1th row, and 2 spaces for 2th row, that means the second row, and the 3 spaces for the third row. Index of third, that means 4th row. Okay, so now we can simply say that the spaces is based on the spaces is less than the row. Okay, for the 0th row we will start from 0. So anyway 0 less than 0 will false, so no spaces will be printed. So 1 less than 0, sorry, 0 less than 1, it will become true. So 1 star will be printed. So like that it will goes. So 0 less than 1, 1 star will be printed. So 1 less than 1, the second star will not printed, second space will not printed. So it will go on to the next line. So now we have seen the logic for the spaces here. So now let us find the logic for the star pattern. Okay, now first 2 star, I can say that 2 star n minus row minus 1. Okay, you may ask, this is the same logic we have used before, but in the previous video we have used a row, but we are using n here. That means, for example, if it is 4, 2 times of 4 minus 0, okay, minus 1 will become 8 minus 1, that is 7. We got 7 here, right? After that it will become 1. So 2 star 3 will become 6. 6 minus 1 will become 5. We got 5 stars. So again 2 star 2 minus, that means 4 minus 2 will become 4 minus 1 will become 3 stars, and 1 star will be printed within the same formula. So now what we are checking is that this number of rows minus number of columns. In the previous we have seen 2 star row plus 1. So I can simply say that while reversing it, it is reducing from the n, because n is the maximum value here. So 2 star n, what it will give? It is 8, right? Normally it will give 8. So but we want some. So I am saying that 2 star n minus 1. So it is basic. But after that we have to reduce the value of n for the every iteration. So for that 2 star n minus row, because row will increase 1 by 1. So after that minus 1. Okay, 2 star n minus row, because every row, after every row it have the row value will increase and the star have to decrease. So that's why we have given n minus row here. So we have seen about the logic of the zeros here. It is increasing based upon the number of rows, and the star is decreasing based upon the formula that we have find right now. So we will code in VS Code. Okay, for int row equals 0 and row less than n and row plus plus. Okay, so first we have to print the number of zeros. For that, for int spaces equals 0, spaces less than row, and spaces plus plus. And system.out.print a space. So next, for the stars, for that I'll give stars equals starts from 0 and stars less than 2 star n minus the current row minus 1. So again the stars will be increased by 1 every loop. So after that I'll print the star. So I'll remove the next line here. So we'll get the input in this, we'll get the output in the same line for the every row. So after that we have to use println, so that it is for spaces, it is for stars, and this is for next line. Okay, so now let us try to run this. So if I give 8 here, we got the pattern in the rows order. So now let's see here, this pattern looks diagonal, right? This pattern, that means it looks like a diamond shape. For the previous problem we have the upper triangle, and the current problem we have the down triangle. So if you combine these both codes, then you will get a diamond shape. Okay, the same code that is used for the upper half. For the the previous problem we have seen is the used for the upper half, and the current problem we have been seeing is for the lower half. If you use this both program, you will get the diamond shape. So now let us move on to number patterns. We have been seeing only the star patterns here, so now we will see the number patterns. So first I like to see one problem, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So it's same like the star pattern, but instead of that we are using numbers. Okay, so here I'll use one variable to store this value. After that I'll increment through every iteration here. So this value will be incremented by 1 every time, and print using the same star logic. First row 1 value, second row 2 value, third row 3 value, and fourth row 4 values. So now let us see how to print this code in the Visual Studio Code. Before that, this will look similar for the same star pattern. Here we have seen before that first row 1 star, second row 2 star, third row 3 star, and the fourth row 4 stars. Okay, this triangle symbol. So now let us try to code. In this we will store a variable and increase it through every iteration. Okay, so now anyway this row will not change, so I'll keep it the for loop here. Okay, then the inner loop for int column equals, it starts from 0 and column less than or equals to the row. Okay, then column plus plus. So we have to store this value in any variable, so I am naming it as number equals, it starts from 0, so it's 0. So then So we have to print this number, so with some space. Okay, so then after printing this number, I am giving a space, so we have to print this in the next line. So let us try to run it, but one more thing we have missed here. I'll tell it after running it. So now I'm giving 1, the value is 1. So we have to increment the value every iteration. So for that, simply number plus plus. So now let us try to run it. So I am giving the force. So we got the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we found the basic logic of this number. So if I let us try to give 11 here or 15 here, so we'll get a big triangle here. So it's enough. See here, this is how it will be. So now the most of the number patterns will be same according to this. So now let us try to see about this alphabet patterns. Okay, so now let us see about this alphabet patterns. So before knowing about this alphabet patterns, we have to know one more thing here, that is ASCII values. Okay, for A there is a value that can be represent this character, that is 65. If you use 65, if you use type conversion here, okay, then you will get A. So let us try it in the compiler. For that, we'll get the input from the user. So there, then we'll print character of n. So now let us try to run it. So I give 65. It is A. So I'll use while loop here. While and true, then that I'll give this input. So if I give 0, if n is equal 0, then I'll break this, or else I'll continually getting the values. So let us check the character values from 1. So it should print something. So 267. So there is no value for 1 or 2. So let us try 35. We got hash. Then 36. It's dollar symbol. 37. It's modulus. And I hope 38 would be star. No, it's ampersand. Then 39 would be star. Okay, the values will change according to this. So 65 is A, and 66 is B, and 67 is C, 68 is D. So 97 is small e, and 98 is small b, 99 is small c, and 100 is small d. Like that it will go. So if you use ASCII values, you can access the character. So using these ASCII values, we will be printing the patterns through this alphabetical patterns. Okay, so now let us see one simple pattern here first. For the pattern, it would be like A, after A B, after A B C, A B C D. It's the same pattern that we have been printing with stars, and the previous problem we have solved with the numbers. Okay, so now let us try to check it how we can use it. Okay, so for that, let us open this. So here I'll remove this. So we'll get back to our previous code. Then same number of rows. Okay, this rows will not change anything. So after that, now what we can see that for int column equals 0 and column is less than this n minus row. Okay, because one value column is less than or equals row and column plus plus. Okay, one value, the number of values per the number of row. That means for first row 1 value, second row 2 values, third row 3 values, like that. So then we have to print the values. So system.out.print. What we have to do is character. That means we have to type converse the value. Character of A plus column plus 1, or else I can say A plus column and I'll give some space because first column value is 0, so A will be printed, then A, B and A, B, C, like that. So if I give the value here, we have to use parenthesis here or else it will be considered as a string. So I am using, if I give 1 here, it will start from B. Okay, now let us check here. So I'll give the input as 3, so it starts from B. So I'll remove this one. So we can simply use A plus the column. So now if I give 5 here, we got A, AB, ABC, like that it will goes on. Okay, this is for the number of rows and this is for the values inside the columns. Okay, in this we are type conversing the value and incrementing by 1 using the column variable that we will be using for the iterations. So now we will try to print in the inverse. As we can already know that we can simply do that by the n minus row. Okay, for that int column equals 0 and column less than n minus row. It will print in the reverse way because it will decrement 1 by 1. So after that column plus plus. So now I can simply print. We have to remove this next line here. After that, type conversion, character, and within that A plus column, after that some space. So now let us run it. So I give the input as 5. So we are reversed the pattern. That means we have made this pattern upside down. Okay, see here, this pattern is top to bottom. It is in the increasing order and this is in a decreasing order. So using this character operation and using this ASCII values, we can simply, so there are a lot of pattern variations are there. So now let us try to print the pyramid problem using the same values from forward to downward. So for that I'll remove this. So the same number of rows will be there Then before the pyramid, you know that we have to add some spaces here. The pyramid will look like this, A, and there will be some space here, for example 3 spaces. After that A and B and C. This is how it's going to be, like this, like some spaces and some values. If you want to add some more values, it will be look like this, A and B and C and D. So the pyramid will look like this triangular pyramid with some values. Okay, so now let us try to do this. For that, some spaces there. After the spaces, we will be having the values. So this is the pattern. So we will try to run this code in the VS Code. So now we know that we have to print the spaces. For that, for in spaces equals 0 and the spaces is less than the how many spaces that we are needed is n minus 4 and spaces plus plus. After that, just print the spaces here without the next line. So after printing the spaces, for int, I'm naming it as column equals 0 and column less than n and column plus plus. So after that, we have to print the values. For that, use type conversion here. After type conversion, we have to use A plus column, after that some space. You may ask why we are using this character. So first let us try to run this. After that I will explain here. So I am giving 5. So we got the values because of this. So let us change this to row. So now let us try to run it. So again giving 5. So now I got the value. So before that we have to give equals here. So we will get 5 rows and 5 columns. So again I will use 5. So now I got the value. Before here I have given n here, that means it should print this. It should print this grid, but before there are adding some spaces, that's why it's looks like slanting. So here we have changed the value now. So now if I try to remove this type conversion, so let us try it again and I'll give the value of 6 here. See here we got 65, 66. We only got the ASCII values. So for that only we have to use type conversion here. So now I run it and I give the value of 6. So now we got the pyramid of the characters. So this is how we'll be doing this code. So we can do one more thing as well. For that we can change this value like A to Z like that. So for that we can simply use one more character, that is I am using integer int value equals 65. So after that I'll just convert this value. Instead of A, I'll give value. So if I try to run it and I'll ignore this, and for the every loop we have to increment the value. So for that value plus plus. So if I run it, so I'll give a value 6. So now see here A and B, C, all the values are in an alphabetic order. So now we have seen about the most of the patterns. So there are a lot of patterns there. So try to solve all on based on the logics that we have seen in this video. So you won't get any confusion here. So in this video we have seen about the ASCII values to change the patterns, and after that the star patterns and the numeric patterns. And if you use type conversion here, then only you will get this value. So after that we are using this n minus 1 and n plus 1 to reverse and upside the arrays and upside the patterns. And we can also, in this whole video we have seen about the nested loops anatomy, like the rows and the inner rows, that is column. After that the fundamental formulas like spaces and how to print the stars, and after that the pyramid math, that is 2 times of row plus 1. After that we have seen about the alphabet patterns and some complex shapes as well. And so the main thing is that you have to practice these problems on your computer so that you won't get any errors after a few times. So that the main thing is, first we have to decompose the pattern. After that we have to find the formula, then the loop and the boundary, so that you will get to know how it's working. So the every complex pattern is nothing but a simple pattern, but it is composed by the row by row. So you just need to decompose it so that you will get to know how to break it down and how to print it. So from coming on the next videos we will be seeing about arrays and strings, and after that we will be seeing functions. After completing this whole core Java, we are moving on to the OOPS concept. So stay tuned for these videos and like this video, and make sure to subscribe for any drops. Any video will be dropping, you will get the notifications. So comment any doubts if you have, so let me clear it. So if you have any doubts, just comment it. So I'll clear that out in next videos, or else I'll DM you. So until then, keep coding and keep growing.